Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm going to share to my journey, my experience, and it's really lived and felt. Now, a lot of the speakers that spoke before me were amazing and fantastic. I want to do something a little bit different and take a personal touch. My journey and my story starts not here, but it starts about 30 years ago, back in 1994. I'm from a place called Sierra Leone. A lot of people might be familiar with it or might not be. But Sierra Leone in 1994 went through an experience of a civil war. And I was born through that. And I was lucky because I was actually born through it, but there were people younger than me that had to experience living in a war and being child soldiers. My early memories was ones of me hearing a lot of gunshots, running around, hiding in basements. That's my first early formidable experience and memories that I had. Sometimes I share this with my mom, and she's shocked and surprised that I actually recall a lot of those things from a young age of maybe 2 or 3 years old. Those early memories helped shape and formed who I am. So to be honest with you guys, my childhood was amazing. All I remember was a lot of fun moments of being a child, growing up in a society where I actually get to be my actual authentic self. Now, I had to go through a transition. I was removed from where I was born and then had to come to England. In doing that, I didn't understand at the time that England operate in a very systematic way. And it was new to me, so it's something that was strange and peculiar. That being said, I had to adapt to a new society, a new way of being. And in that, I have to figure out who I am in that. I struggled to start off with, actually, coming straight into secondary school at a point where people are 2 months into year 7 already. So a lot of people have already made friends. I'm the new kid on the block, or fresh off the boat, we should say. Coming to a whole new society and a whole new way of being. How do I fit in, or where do I fit in? It took me a while to find myself amongst my peers and my friends at the time. But one thing that set me apart is the fact that I've always been very curious. So from a young child, back home where I'm from, we didn't have, we can't go to a supermarket to get toys. I had to create my own toys. One of the best things I remember doing when I was younger is making paper propellers through cardboard and then running around with it, or building a kite and then running around with my friends. As a child, we used to do this. There's like literally a kite season. We'll make kites and everyone fly around the area. But I've always had this curiosity in terms of making things out of nothing. One of my best things that I enjoyed was breaking things apart and finding little electric motors and making something out of that, or taking an empty sardine tin and using that as a waste spot, for example. But I share that with you because it taught me key character building skills that later became very valuable in my life. And I'm going to share with you those skill sets and those lessons that I've learned. But to tell you who I am, my name is Mohamed Ali, no relations to the great champion. But it's a name that I carry as a badge of honor. The reason being, it made me realize in my greatness and that my destiny, I can shape it for me myself. So in knowing that, I set myself on a journey, on a path that is different from my friends. And I have to figure out, how do I fit in a society that I'm not from? That was a very challenging question for me to do. But straight away, I realized that I have this wealth of memory and experience that most of my friends do not share. And I can pull from that to actually create something for myself. That's what set me on the path of being an entrepreneur. And I want to share with you the highs and the lows that have come with that. And in hopes that some of you that might be inspired tonight from my talk and from talk of others want to go down that journey of being an entrepreneur. These are the things you have to think about. So over the years, for the past 10 years, I've been able to build my own business, which I'm very proud of. And I've done this despite not having the skill sets, the money, and definitely not the resources to do it. But somehow, somewhere, I've been able to do that. Back in 2014, I set myself on a challenge that I want to help my friends that are musicians actually network and connect with other musicians around them. In London at the time, now it's a bit different, but back then, if you're from a different borough, you do not communicate or go certain areas. Now the internet is different. People mingle. If you're from East London, you go west. If you come West London, you go south. And at the time when I was growing up, you did not do that. You stay within a specific 1 mile radius of your area. And that's the reality where I'm from. But I noticed that a lot of my friends were talented, but they didn't network or connect with someone else because of this stigma. So I said, you know what? I can build something and have an impact in where I can get everyone to connect and relate to each other. I set myself on this stupid mission. I didn't realize how big it was actually going to be. So to put it simple, I created a platform and an ecosystem that helps connect creative professionals globally to get paid local and global opportunities. The first lesson I've learned by doing that, and it's taken me 10 years to do that, is one, resourcefulness. So pulling back from my childhood memories, I have to be resourceful when I'm thinking of creative ways to create something to entertain myself, right? So in learning the resourcefulness and how I was able to adapt it to building my own business, is because I didn't have the money, I didn't have the skill set. In fact, to build what I've done, I had to teach myself how to be a software programmer because I didn't even know where to start. I want to build an app. Where do I start? I don't know. Okay, self-teach. So that was the first obstacle that I met during our journey. So once I was able to overcome that, I realized that the next hurdle is it can actually be very isolating. I've set myself on this journey that's different from a lot of my friends. They don't share the same aspiration or the same goals that I do. I feel like I'm alone in this journey. I'm alone in this path. So what I've realized is that actually maybe I was just surrounded with the wrong people, and in separating myself, really locking in and focusing on creating and building myself to the point where I can speak to you guys today, really and truly. It's been an isolating journey, but out of that isolation, it's helped me understand who I am. It's helped me learn one of the most valuable skill sets I hope everyone has, which is patience. In patience, I was able to really build my character. In patience, I was able to really become the man that I was destined to be. That's the second lesson. The third lesson that I had to learn is about perseverance. Perseverance takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you, literally, because you have to be disciplined to wake up day in, day out to do this. There's a phrase that I want to leave with you guys this evening. Just know one thing. The path of entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. And I say that because it is difficult. It is challenging. Most of us are going against the grain when society is telling you, go this direction. I said to myself, no, I do not want to go that way. I want to go this way. And it's come with a lot of obstacles. But through perseverance, I've been able to overcome a lot of those obstacles. The next thing, which I really want to leave with you guys, is the fact that failure and success are actually the same thing. It's all about our perspective to it. And a lot of the time, we hold one in high regards and the other not so much. We let the failures determine who we are. Whereas how I saw it is the failures that allow me to realign. It allows me to learn from my own lessons and experiencing, but also failures of others allowed me to learn what to avoid moving forward. So in saying that, sometimes success and failures go hand in hand, and don't separate it. It's two sides of the same coin. You need that. You need the failure in order to learn on what not to do the next time. And then also it's about seeking people that are like-minded like you, people that have gone through the experience of building a company, for example. So just to share with you guys, the only reason I'm standing here today is because I was able to seek guidance from someone who had asked to be my mentor, to teach me in order for me to avoid certain mistakes. And that's what actually led me to be here today. So it's about understanding that. And shout out to Dan at the back. That was uncomfortable for me because it's someone that I met. And I'm like, you know what? I like our conversation. You're very inspiring. And I think you can act as a guide for me. But I was able to learn from some of his expertise and avoid certain mistakes during my journey. So those are the 4 lessons I want to share with you guys. So just to recap a little bit. The first lesson is about resourcefulness, the ability to create something out of nothing. The second lesson is about perseverance, your ability to stay consistent and stay disciplined and move through whatever obstacle. The next lesson is about your failures and success, and understand that those are two sides of the same coin. And then the last lesson, really what I want you guys to focus on is how can you be yourself when you're on your journey, whether it can be as isolating as possible. Just be you. Be your authentic self. The only reminder I have on my phone every day when I wake up tells me to be my authentic self. Being your authentic self can be very isolating because it sets you apart from everyone. And it's tough. But what it does, it allows you to build your character. So that's the last lesson, which is about isolation. And to close, I would like you guys to go through a visual experience with me. I want you guys to use your imagination. And I'm going to describe to you what the path of entrepreneurship actually is. So you could close your eyes or you could keep them open. I just want you to use your mind because as an entrepreneur, that's all we have, our mind. So imagine yourself taken out of London and dropped in the middle of the jungle. You're in the jungle with no tools, no resources, just yourself and your mind only. In this jungle, you can see every single distractions available to you. You can see your predators, you can see the prey, you can see the birds, everything around you. However, you as an entrepreneur, you're walking on a path and the only guiding compass you have is the sun, which is your North Star in this scenario. You're walking through this jungle, you meet your first obstacle. And this first obstacle comes in the form of a river. And you're trying to cross to get to the other side because you're on a journey. And during this obstacle, you don't have no tools. The only tool you have is your mind. So in this instant, you have to sharpen your mind enough. It can be a stone which you sharpen in order for you to cut down a tree, to build a raft, to cross to the other side. Now, you've been able to develop your mindset and sharpen it enough where you have crossed that obstacle. Now you face your next challenge. It's an uphill climb. This is very tiring. You're going against the grain. And that's what it is when you are an entrepreneur and go uphill. But you're able to actually make it to the top of that hill. Now you're at a place where you can actually see your destination right ahead of you. But for a lot of people, this is where things get difficult. This is where a lot of people actually stop because it requires them to take literally a leap of faith forward. Even though you can see your destination ahead of you, you're at the top of a mountain, there's 100 miles drop, for example. Most people don't have the bravery and the courage to actually take that leap of faith. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs actually give up. They drop everything they're doing, turn around, and go back. For me, that was different. I decided to actually take a leap of faith to say, I'm going to go through this journey. And in doing that, someone in the form of a bird in this instance, but the analogy of it is actually a mentor said to me, your destination is right ahead of you. You're almost there, just jump. And what I found when I jumped is that all I had to actually do is just spread my arms and my wings in this instance, and I can actually glide to my destination instead of the worry and the fear of dropping sharply below. So I share that analogy with you guys really to paint a picture of what it's like to be an entrepreneur in today's day and age. Just remember this, it's a journey. Your destination might be in sight. Don't worry about the destination. Just walk your path. And to that, I want to say thank you for everyone for your attention. And I want to thank God for actually guiding me through this journey. Thank you, guys.